and welcome to Dating is a Joke, where we take dating so seriously that we laugh about it. Today, I have Madhu with me, who we are so lucky to have her. She is coming off her Money Mike win on Friday. So, congratulations and welcome, Madhu.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I say this to everybody, but everybody I have on, I'm so excited to talk because you are a relatively new comic.
Yeah.
We met at an open mic. We've become very fast friends.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be more thrilled than to hear that you won at Money Mike. Tell me a little bit about that experience.
I thought it was fantastic. I of course didn't go in expecting anything. Also, it's that mindset where you have, right? Like, it's me. I don't ever won any lotteries or any competitions or whatever.
Absolutely. Now, the one question that I do like to start with is always around there is I don't know if it's a myth, but there's something out there that says, men don't like to date funny women. Now, you've been married a long time, so
Yeah.
obviously that can't be true. But what's your take on that? And how is your husband absorbing your comedy journey?
My husband, you've met him so many times because
I
so far
have,
he's
yeah.
accompanying me everywhere and he's super supportive. And of course, I play my jokes to him. He has
hmm
inputs too from a man perspective as well.
hmm
So far so good.
So, yeah, he is a great audience member because he takes the jokes. Like sometimes you're very direct,
Yeah,
right? Like sometimes you're
yeah.
very
Like I
direct
have
at
that one
calling him
sex
out.
joke, right? And I've had comics come and say to me that, "Oh my God, your husband was right there." I'm like, that's a great
Yeah.
thing, right? Because that
It
joke
yeah,
actually came out of a real conversation, and it's
yeah,
the fact is that he's a very secure man, and that's how it should be. And which brings me back to the
absolutely.
original question that men don't date funny women. Like I've heard all sorts
Mhm,
of things, right? Men don't
mhm,
date funny women, men don't date women who know their minds or are smart or like
mhm.
have their own money. I think it boils down to the fact, is a man secure within who he is or what he brings to the table at the end of the day?
Very well said, Madhu. Very well said. I like that. Okay, we are going to keep things moving along, and I do have the Wheel of Dating Disasters Married Edition a lot, so I want to do that. So I'm going to just share my screen here, and we will give the wheel a spin and let it guide our conversation.
Let's do
Okay,
it.
here we go.
Ooh.
Ah, okay. When you knew he was the one, or maybe not. I guess tell us a little bit about, I guess the beginning of your
Mhm.
relationship with your husband.
So we actually met each other. We are first year of college. We met through common friends, and we were friends for like about a year and a half before my husband asked me out. And I think for us, it was not like love at first sight, or did have a crush on him. And
Mhm.
the first time, okay, I'll back up a little. I think I asked him out the first time, and he was like, no.
Okay.
And I asked him out
Wow.
because I think my husband has a very sexy voice, and this is the era of landline still, right? So whenever
Yes.
I heard him on the phone, I was like, oh, sexy. So I think the first time I asked him out, and he's like, yeah, no. And then I was like, okay, let's just be friends. 1 year goes by, a year and a half, and that's when he comes around and he asks me out, and that's when we really started. And I don't even think it's a natural transition to go from friends to kind of being boyfriend and girlfriend or lovers or what have
Yeah.
you. But that's how our journey transitioned. And I think
hmm
I spent more than half of my life with him at this point. We were 19 when we met, and we are both 45 now.
Yeah,
Um,
wow.
yeah, and they were like, we got married 8 years after we started seeing each other, and there was, of course,
hmm
there is on and off and on and off. So there was a bit of that, but then eventually we got married, and he's my best friend. Um,
Yeah.
Anytime anything good or bad happens, I want to tell him, and I feel like it's the same way with him. And but it whether or not you married your friend, whether or not you like grew up with each other, you evolve with each other, marriage is hard, and both of us have that recognition. Like both of us,
Yeah.
surprisingly,
Hmm.
like even though we have this long running marriage, if you were to
Yeah.
ask him today or ask me today, I think marriage is on its way out. Like human beings weren't really meant to be
Yes.
polygamous, or sorry, monogamous beyond a
Monogamous.
point. And maybe it worked in an era where people, there weren't that many options, women weren't as empowered, etc.,
Hmm.
etc. But I'm not really sure that till death do us apart is the way to go for the future. Like I don't know if my son's generation or my grandchildren's
Yeah.
generation
Hmm.
is even going to think of marriage. So there definitely is that recognition, and it's still like a lot of hard work. Like it's not a Hallmark movie.
Hmm.
And we've had open conversations so many times that maybe both of
Hmm.
us are still together because it's just too much paperwork to file for divorce in two
Hmm.
different countries. So, we are able to laugh with each other about that, dude. Okay. So, like, we have stuff in Canada
Yeah.
and then we have stuff in India because both of us are
Hmm.
here. And we, like, as it is when you are immigrants, you are doing like
Yeah.
endless paperwork in two countries. And I'm like,
Hmm.
oh my God, this is
Hmm.
just going to add more. You know what? It's okay. Let's just
We'll just stay
work through.
together.
Yeah, let's just work through this hump and yeah, keep it going.
But that is so true, and you make a good point. A lot of people sometimes say they stay together because it's just so complicated to,
Yeah,
to split assets, to thing. Like
yeah,
I'm divorced, and the amount of contact that I still need to have with my ex because we co-parent is crazy. Like I think
yeah.
it'd be more convenient if he was still here. I
Right?
didn't have to wait for him to respond to my text message. He'd be here. But you're right. I do think that the concept of marriage is a little bit antiquated. And I don't know the history, which I actually I was driving today thinking I need to look this up. But I remember hearing this person talk about how marriage was never actually meant to be romantic, right? Marriage was a very it was a way for people to survive, right? You used to drive not only
Yeah.
the lineage, but the money, the farms, the assets,
That's
all
how
of
like
that. It was a
arranged. I know
way
like
for
people
the
make
yeah.
fun of arranged the concept of arranged
Hmm.
marriages, but I think that for the larger part of
Yeah.
human history, marriages have been arranged within
Yeah.
families. Like it was a way of
Exactly.
keeping the
Yeah.
families together, keeping the assets within
Hmm.
the families, etc. So it was a very practical arrangement.
Yeah, and the
And
romance came from all the lovers. But there were
yeah,
other people to bring in the romance, right? There was the marriage, and then somebody else provided the fun. Now those two are together. And
exactly.
I think, even looking at myself being that I'm dating again, sometimes I think, am I looking for something that just doesn't exist because it's a
Yeah,
combination of those two things, right? Like the stability and the
yeah,
partnership and the friendship, but also the excitement and the feelings and all that romance. And
yeah,
yeah, it's different. Now, I do want to back up a little bit to
yeah.
something that you said, because you said you went through a lot of on and offs, right?
Hmm.
So I'm wondering if you could tell us a little bit about what some of those offs were, right? Perhaps reasons why things maybe weren't working, but then what kind of made you get back on and then make such a long-term commitment?
Yeah. So I think the off part was, I mean, I grew up in India, of course, right? So you have that conditioning, and in a different generation. I realize I'm not that young anymore. So you grew up with that conditioning and I grew up in a very, very progressive family. Like education was very important, and I have a very solid education behind me. But it was still like marriage was one of the goals to,
Mhm.
be ticked off your list. And
Yes. Mhm.
I'm 23, 24. I look a certain way, and I don't know if I need to talk about colorism here, but I grew up like dark
Mhm.
skinned in India, and
Yeah.
even the like India has a very strong preference, at least for its women, for
Mhm.
lighter skinned women. And there
Mhm.
was always
Yeah.
this thing: oh, will she get married? Will she not get married? There was so much pressure that even as I was getting to know him, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, let's get married, let's get married, let's get married. If you don't want to get married right now, let's just commit. We can get married 2 years down the line, and we're like babies, 23,
Yeah.
24,
Yeah. Mhm.
and that is when he backed off
Of
for the
course.
first time,
Yeah.
that it's too
Hmm.
early, and both of us were leaving. I came to Canada to study my higher studies. He came, this is back in 2004, he came to
Hmm.
the US to study, and he's like, no, it's too soon, it's too much. And that's when we decided to go our separate ways, and I finished my masters. I went back to India, I started working, and he continued to stay on in the United States. He started working there, and so it was a natural diversion at
Hmm.
that point. And I
Yeah.
moved to another city. I did date a couple of other people for a very short while, but
Hmm.
as they say, absence makes the heart grow fonder, and he realized what he's missing.
Of
Like, how
course.
can you let go of such a fun
Yeah.
person?
No, I cannot imagine.
And so that's when we had another conversation, and so
Hmm.
we decided to get started again and get the families involved. And thankfully, the families agreed, and
Yes.
yeah, eventually we got married in 2008.
Wow, that is a really great story, and I like to hear about the fact. I like to hear when it's not perfect, right? Because I think
No,
that that's something that people kind of cling to, and I know that I've noticed this about myself too, is that when things start to go wrong, I'm like, okay, well that's it. We're done. Like this is just
yeah,
not. I mean, not in my marriage because I stuck that one out for 25 years,
yeah,
but sort of in other relationships. But you're always going to
mm,
have those hard turns. But it sounds like you both had a very strong sense of yourselves
yeah,
and kind of prioritized that and then allowed those things to happen for you guys to finish out your studies, to do your things, and then realized no, we
yeah,
we are kind of meant to be together and do that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
thank you very much for sharing that. Let's go back to wheel for just a second and let's see if
Sure.
we can get one quick story out of you while we move on. So let me share my screen again and let's see. Ah, okay. So I think that we touched on this in your
Yeah.
previous the story you were just saying. I'm just wondering because you said you made this decision, you brought the families together. Was there an official proposal that happened, or did the two of you just kind of talk about it and say, okay, let's do this?
No, actually, there was an official proposal that happened, and this was in Wisconsin sometime before we spoke to our families in 2007. So I went back to the US to start a PhD that didn't ever get completed, but that's a separate story. And he was working in Chicago at that point of time, and he came down. And the University of Wisconsin in Madison has a gorgeous campus, and there is a whole walkway just next to the lake. And we were walking down that path, and he had this very nice two-toned ring, which I eventually lost. I don't know where it is, but he went down on his knee and proposed. And I have a very,
Oh,
very grainy picture because this is back in 2006
oh,
from that time.
yeah. Mhm.
But yeah, no, there was like a small proposal for sure. And
Yeah.
like I do feel maybe, I don't know if it's the current generation or people have always been like that about marriages, but there is so much of a production. Like a proposal has to be perfect and the wedding has to be perfect. Like sometimes when I see all the beautifully manufactured videos of pre-wedding and post-wedding ceremonies coming out of India, and also Indian weddings are lavish and they run in like for weeks and everything. I look at them and I like, that does not make a good marriage. There is just so much pressure for everything to be picture perfect. But a
Mhm.
wedding is so different from a marriage that,
Marriage, yes.
yeah, like it's not a Hallmark movie. It's not.
Yeah, no, it's funny because the other night my daughter sat me down to go to watch TikToks with her, and we
Yeah.
ended up watching 45 minutes of wedding TikToks. And can I tell you, of all the tests the universe has thrown on me as a parent, it was so hard for me to not be the jaded, old, divorced woman watching these TikToks because I'm watching these elaborate things like you're saying, these, and I'm like, that's not gonna last.
No. Yeah.
No, like that's about the
Right?
wedding. That's about the wedding. It's not about the
Exactly.
relationship or like, look how miserable he looks. I kept all this to myself because I want my daughter to enjoy the romance and all of that
Right.
as well. At least for now, I'll give her a bit of a reality check later in life, but it's a lot. There's a lot of pressure, and I think that social media and all this
Oh my
access to all
God.
these different things has Pinterest has just made it worse. But that is a lovely story, Madhu. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Now, do you and your husband try to do date nights?
We do. And we're kind of going for a date evening today. We're actually going to a stand-up comedy show later in the day. There is this popular comic from India who's come to the city, and we are both
Oh,
going to
nice.
watch him. We are both big foodies, and we'll eat anything.
Hmm.
We love traveling, and we always travel with our nose and our stomachs because we try to eat local
Yeah,
no matter where we go. So we have all
yeah.
these common interests that center around food and travel and comedy now. So often our date nights are a new trying a new restaurant or trying a new
Hmm.
cuisine. Um, yeah, and now, like, he comes to most of my open mics. I am the more, so he's the tech guy, I'm the cultural person. So
Oh,
we
okay.
tend to, yeah, like I tend to take him out for more cultural events.
Yeah.
So no, we do not a lot of like adventurous date nights because, as I've
Mhm.
already established, we are both very lazy and looking for comfort people. But yeah, if there is a good restaurant, we are there. Um,
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you have a full-time job. He's got a full-time job. You
yeah,
guys have a son.
yeah,
You have stand-up comedy. So being able to find that time for just the two of you to hang out
yeah.
is nice to hear after all these years of marriage, you're still making time and space for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. I do think I will say though that it's as important as it is to do things together. It's also important to have your own identity and your own space. Like for him to have his set of activities and for me to have my own set of friends. It's very, very important. I don't like those marriages or those couples who sort of morph into one identity.
Hmm.
And even though like our evolution has largely sort of been with each other. So, for example, we both were born in Hindu families, but over a period of time, we both realized that no, we are, more atheistic. I'm spiritual still. He's like a complete, yeah, no, I don't believe in anything, that sort of a person. But so there have been parts of a journey where we have evolved together, but there is also parts of a journey where do you do your own thing and I'm going to do mine because there is no fun in being completely codependent on each other for everything that you don't know what to do when the guy or the girl is not around or is traveling or
Yeah.
stuff. And I see that in a lot of marriages. I don't know whether that's the case with a lot of Western marriages too, but for
Hmm.
sure, I see that in a lot of Asian marriages. People, hanging out with the same friends, doing the same things, watching the same content, but
Hmm.
like you decided to spend your life with someone, you did not decide to become that person. And
Person, yeah, yeah. I have to say that that's something that I experienced, and I got married quite young. We started dating at 18, we were married by 22, and we did become this sort of one person. And even
yeah,
when we had kids, like everything, we did everything together, we did everything as a family. And then I keep saying I turned 40, which was rough on the marriage. Like something clicked, and I started saying,
switch,
oh
flip,
no, I
yeah,
want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do my own things. And then at that point, we realized how different we actually were.
yeah,
We were
yeah.
very, very different people. And then the divorce came soon after that. But I do see that detriment. And I think that, I mean, I don't want to speak to all women, but I know that one of the things that I did was it was my own fault because I felt like it was my duty to dedicate myself to my family. It was my duty to
Yes.
sacrifice what I wanted to
Because
do and
that's what we are
my
taught
own
as
dreams.
women. Oh my
Exactly,
God,
right?
yes.
And that was the right thing to do. I was being a good mom and a good wife by doing those things. And in hindsight, I wasn't. I think I could have added more value to my family. I could have added, a lot more by following my own things and my own endeavors and all of
Yeah.
that. Um, Okay, we are running out of time, so we are going to move to our last segment here,
Sure.
which is our this or that segment. So I'm going to ask you a question where I'll make you want to choose one or the other. Don't overthink it. There's no right or wrong answer. No one's going to judge you except me. So we will move on to that. Okay, so do you prefer a date night in or a date night out?
Date night in, for sure.
Okay, who apologizes first, you or him, when you've had a fight?
Me,
Apologize.
me, me,
Who usually causes the fight? You or him?
me.
uh,
Always
do
me.
you are you a silent treatment person or are you a dramatic sigh person?
I'm a shouting at the top of my lungs
Oh,
person.
great. Um, fancy anniversaries out or sweatpants and cuddling in?
Sweatpants and cuddling in.
Okay. True or false? Happy wife, happy life.
True. Extremely true.
Uh, um, cooking together or one person does the cooking?
I don't like when people are in kitchen with me. So he does his thing, I do mine. Absolutely cooking
Okay.
alone.
Joint bank accounts or yours, mine, ours.
Joint bank accounts.
Okay. Oversharing everything that just happened in your day, or I'll tell you later.
Oversharing.
Uh, would you be up for matching pajamas or never?
Funny that you ask. We do have a set of matching pajamas, and he bought them. So I'm
Okay.
totally going to bring them out on Christmas.
If you ask for an opinion, do you want the honest answer or do you want him to give you the safe answer?
The safe answer. Like he should telepathically know what response I want him to give. Like magic
Yes,
should happen before he opens his mouth.
thank you. I agree. Okay. Your weekends, weekend chores or weekend naps?
Naps.
Okay. And then one more. Do you prefer gifts or acts of service?
Acts of service.
Yes. We have
Absolutely.
a lot in common, Madhu. Uh, okay, so thank you so much. We are
Sure.
completely running out of time. Time flies when you're having a good time.
Yeah.
Uh, now, I know that you're doing a lot of open mics. Do you have any shows or anything else that you'd like to, any other projects? Because one of the things I forgot to mention is that you're highly involved in poetry as well.
Yes, yes. So
And
funny.
you've ran some poetry open mics.
Yeah, I do poetry open mics as well. I'm actually funny that you asked me this question today because I was thinking that I've been writing pretty much since the age of 5. And
Mhm.
but today was the first time I was talking to someone and I call myself an artist. Funny how that works, right? Because I'm like, well, I've been writing poetry, I perform it too now, and I'm also doing stand-up comedy, which I write myself and I perform myself. That makes me an artist. I should own it. You know, about time I
Yes,
should own it.
yes.
Um,
I just recently started calling myself a comic. And I said,
right?
because it's the same thing. I do so many creative things, and everybody always, I find even writers that I meet do not call themselves writers. Actors don't call themselves actors. It's
Yeah.
time we own it. Thank you. Now, I will
Yeah.
let you speak now, but thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, no, I think that I don't have any shows booked as of now, but uh,
If
brain is
anything
completely
comes up
going.
between now and when this airs, I will make sure that I add that to the notes as part of this episode
For
to
sure.
friend you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to do open mics, multiple open mics for sure next week. I am reaching out to people. I actually told my husband before the money mic that if I don't bomb today, I'm going to start taking this seriously. I will start
And you
emailing
won.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
And,
So he's like, okay, because I haven't still like emailed a single comedy club, reached out to anyone actively, and he's like, yeah, no, now you need to start doing it. So
yes, let's
yeah, I'm
chat. Let's chat. I've got a collection of stuff and things that I do, and it's funny, not all of them pan out, but some
yeah,
do, right?
yeah.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much, Madhu. Before I could get off here, do you have any last from somebody who, met the love of their life and are still married to them, do you have any dating advice for those of us out in the world?
Yeah, I mean, don't act in haste.
Mm,
Like there will be tough times. Even if you find the perfect guy or a girl, there will always be tough times. Just take a breather, take a step back. A road bump is not always a need to, call it quits. Maybe it's an unpopular opinion, but I think that the fact that we have a lot of choice today is also creating problems for us.
absolutely. Yeah,
Um, but it's a bit of a false
I
choice
agree.
because I've seen friends who, like lovely people who are on their third or their fourth marriages now,
Hmm.
but at some point like it's like, yeah, I'm going to stick to this or make it work, or and it doesn't always, and I don't know if I'm even making sense right now, but it doesn't have to always work out. But
Yeah.
I do feel that we are in a age or a scenario when, especially I see a lot of young people, the first fight and they're ready to call it quits, might as well not get married. And
Yeah.
maybe that's the path the world is going down, and that's why I said that marriage no longer works in our current setup, and
Well,
then that's fine.
yeah. I mean, you heard it here. I mean, we started off this show with you saying that your prediction for the world is that marriage
Absolutely.
is just going to
100%.
disappear. So maybe
Yeah,
in a in a couple of years, 50 years, somebody will be pulling out footage from here and saying, Madhu called it back in
she called it.
2025, and
Yep,
here we are
she said
today.
we are done and dusted.
Great. Thank you so much, Madhu, for
Sure.
joining me here today on Dating is a Joke. And everyone, please follow Madhu on her socials. They're included here. And follow me. I'm Diana Barbosa, your host, and I will see you again on another episode of Dating is a Joke.